Hello, friends, and welcome to Meet Me in the Middle. I am Sierra, and I am in Greece. I'm in Tinos. You should see the view that I'm looking at right now because it is just phenomenal. I am drinking a double fizz and my greens because that was just much needed. Closing that door because my whole family is still asleep, and I didn't even want to get up out of bed. I was just laying down and doom scrolling, but lately I've been trying to tell myself that I need to just stop being on my phone, or being on my phone is work, but to be on my phone when it's productive and not to be on my phone when I'm just trying to be lazy and not do anything. So here I am. I was trying to think of what I wanted to share about because every time I have all these ideas that go in my head, and then every time I go to actually do the thing and speak about it, share about it, I'm like, oh, what do I have to talk about? Which is pretty funny to me because in my brain, I have so many things that I want to share. And then whenever I just go to think about this, I get this stage fright almost of what do I want to share about? And I think this is something that I'm always gonna just be like combating as I'm like getting used to filming, as I'm like getting used to all of this. So even if you're watching this, you're a real one because you're one of the first people that are actually putting intention into watching my stuff and what I'm creating and what I'm sharing. So I appreciate you and I see you because this isn't easy for me. It's not easy for me to be in front of the camera. It's not easy for me to share so vulnerably, to lay out all of my shit on the table, I guess one would say. But that's just the beauty of it. And that's just the beauty of becoming and unbecoming. I think Michelle Obama said that. And that's something that I am happy that, again, if you are watching this, you get to be along for the full ride of it all. I need a first sip. Not as windy today, actually. When I tell you that I can literally chug my greens and my body craves it at this point, it's so damn good. So today when I was sitting in bed, I was thinking like, okay, I've been getting a little too philosophical deep, right? And I want to pivot. So this is the beauty about this podcast for me is I have these 4 pillars that I just always want to be touching on, which is health and wellness, it is soccer, it is brain fart, it is motherhood, and it's also just connecting with my community and the people around me. So I haven't yet gotten to those types of episodes yet because I'm still planning and figuring out who I want to come on, when I have time. The time difference is crazy, but I am still figuring that out. So I have those 4 pillars, and today I wanted to chat about soccer because I had a lot of friends resonate and reach out to me after the episode that I had with Emmy, and a lot of my friends had just inputs and comments about what we were talking about, and just a little recap, just sharing about soccer and sharing about the culture that our generation grew up in and how that is pivoting so much and how positive it has turned into. In my eyes, I think so, because for a long time, maybe like past couple weeks, even a long time, I have been thinking a lot about, oh, soccer and sports have just become so competitive lately. And as a kid, I would want my kids to experience a magnitude of sports, right? But that totally goes against all of the everything that I was and that I am in this, being a fiercely competitor in this sport. And I don't think I would have wanted it any other way, to be honest. I tried track, I tried basketball. Track was okay, it wasn't always my favorite. Tried basketball, it wasn't for me. Tried volleyball, tried softball. So soccer was like it. And I feel like once you know this, once you know the sport that you want to pursue as a kid and as a competitor, you just attach onto that identity. And so I think it's awesome that kids are competing at such high levels right now. But I also think there needs to be some sort of, and I think this is me coming from the parent aspect too, there needs to be some sort of check-in or mental health aspect of it too, of the game. I actually have a friend, Carly White, I played with at Western, and she played overseas. I played with her on the Sounders, amazing soccer player, and she just graduated to become a mental health therapist, counselor, specifically for kids who are transitioning from their sport. And I think this is so freaking cool because I could have used something like this. So many people who are transitioning out of their sport struggle with this and trying to figure out their identity beyond just their sport and all that they've dedicated so much time to. And so I think that's where the line kind of draws of where I think there needs to be some sort of, you need to have other interests, you need to do other things. And so as much as I want Bellamy and Zoya to be in sports and to experience the team, experience being around other people that are motivated and driven and that sort of thing, I also want them to experience art. I also want them to experience music and to create and to just have more for themselves beyond the sport. Because now that I'm like a mom and I've transitioned out of, okay, who do I want to be? What does that look like? I am rediscovering things that I like and rediscovering things that I just never thought I could tap into because I was so tunnel vision focused on one singular vision and dream. And now I'm in a space where I'm like, oh, I can have it all, right? I can be a mom, I can be a creator, I can be a model, I can also be a soccer player at a certain capacity, and it doesn't have to look like this grand, I don't know, professional life that I thought it would look like, because it's still enough, and it's enough for everything else that fits into my life too. So the beauty of that balance is so cool and important, and just really good to carry with yourself, especially if you're a parent on here and you're raising kids in sports, or if you are someone that maybe is transitioning to wanting to go play pro or wanting to go play at a higher level. I have a lot of friends right now in my space who are playing in college. It's like when you're in your sport and when you're in this space, it seems like nothing else matters, which it doesn't. That's the beauty of it too. But also really finding time to figure out what is meant for you outside of sport is so important. So that was like one of the things I really wanted to touch on and just yap about, because as I'm like, if my season's ending with my team, which we won one game. I think this is the first team I've ever been on a losing team. And it's been such a fun building year, to be honest, because whenever I talk about it with Emmy, I'm always like, oh, how'd the game go? Because she's playing and starting now towards the end of the season. I'm so proud of her. And she's, oh my gosh, we lost, but it was so much fun and the vibes are really high and we all played really well together and everyone came off the field and just felt really good about it. And to feel so proud in a response like that from someone who somewhat stepped in as in the leadership role and then I left right away. I was just so happy that was the response in the case. And I feel when you're building a team and when you're building an organization, Galaxy, mind you, it's our first year as a USLW league. So we are like leaps and bounds behind other teams that have been playing and more established, more budget, that sort of thing. It's really cool to create that culture right off the bat. And I think that's what this year set the foundation for. I have nothing but high praises to say about our coaching staff, Luke and Jesse and James and Peyton. I've never been a part of such a unique program that allowed so much voice, allowed so much growth, self-development, leaning on each other that I have in this group. And it's so fun for me to be a part of that because I've never been in a space where like my voice has felt like it was like pulling like leaps and bounds and whatnot. And actually maybe that's a lie. I felt that some way about at Western, but I feel like now that I'm 30 and I'm in a different space and I've played at a really high level and I'm coming back into this space, like it's just a little different too. And I just really love that there's just like that kind of like chemistry and camaraderie within the staff and within the players. And yeah, it was just really a really cool experience for me. I also loved being able to take direction from players that were like younger than me and just like badass players. There's this one player, Rachel Remnant, I'm a name dropper. She is a goalkeeper for Seattle U, and I think she's going to be a sophomore this year. She might have redshirted. And she is such a stud. I like the first game I played with her, like she was like, Sierra, come over here. Hey, you got to do this. Hey, move over there. Hey, like the communication was phenomenal. And I was just so impressed by a player at such a young age to be able to command a field in that way. And it just reminded me of like my younger self and maybe in my like junior senior year, but that took a while. And this girl was like a freshman, like coming in hot, like telling Sierra, get your ass back. What are you doing? And I'm looking at her like, I'm dead, girl. Like I'm playing 90 minutes, I'm dead. So I just loved that kind of mutual, like I said, like it's all out of love. It's all out of getting better. It's all out of this higher goal and vision. And I just see so much of that within this program, which is really exciting and fun for the coming years. It was also really fun to play against old teammates, playing against Mariah, and she played for the West Seattle Roadies, which they were like a winning team this year. Like they like had a crazy winning streak this year. It was so fun to play against Karina. She also played. It was fun to play against Morgan. She played for Salmon Bay. They just won. And the level that everyone is competing at in the league that we're creating and just like how everyone is showing up, whether that's, this league is hard, right? It's hard because you are in a you're in a certain space where you're not always having the same roster and the same team every single week. There's so many different players that are coming in and out, and it's a very hard league to coach. So it's really fun to be able to see how well people step up. And I could acknowledge and praise the other teams all day long. There's this one gal, again, she plays for Seattle U, and I think I follow her on Instagram now, and I don't want to butcher her name, but she's a Hawaiian girl. And I went up to her after the game and I'm like, you're literally the best player I've ever played against. The class and the composure and just the IQ, it was just phenomenal. Seattle U is going to have a great program. Shout out to the recruiter for them, because I am just so impressed across the board by all of their players that have stepped in and really changed the way that this league has been seen and the level that it competes at. So again, just can probably talk about soccer forever. And I do want to have friends on here that I've played with, because I think it's important to uplift their voices, and I think it's important to share other people's experiences when it comes to playing at different levels. I don't want to gatekeep here, and it's just good to hear that, because there's not just one goal anymore, right? There's not just one league. There's so many different options of how you can continue to play. And when I asked Luke, our Galaxy coach, head coach, I was like, so how are you feeling end of the year? What's going on? What are the vibes like? And he was like, you know what? I am just thankful for this opportunity, and I just hope that it makes these players want to continue to play in sport, but then also have the players that are playing ready for their college season. And if that doesn't show and tell you the kind of coach and person that he is, then I don't know what does, because that is, again, a big visionary. That is the why. And I just, again, I think that's so cool. There's so many of my friends that I played with who were phenomenal soccer players who, okay, sure, maybe one thing they don't want to play because of injury, but who don't even want to just play anymore, just to play. And with the World Cup energy going on right now, doesn't it make you so freaking proud to play soccer? It is so cool that there's so many people around the world that are connecting culturally and just vibing off a different level because of soccer. And I even took Bells down to this, there's a little mini soccer field over here. I took Bells down and he thought it was so cool. He was like, we found a soccer field. Like, soccer is the one universal sport and language that so many people speak, and it's just so beautiful to be able to see that in the World Cup and to be able to see that the sport is getting that attention that it needs. And I haven't watched that many World Cup games. I love that the US is crushing it. It's been really fun to see. It's also really funny that all of our top players, they weren't they were like military. Cam was telling me this. A lot of our top players were like military players or military kids. So they weren't born in the US, but they were born on the US base in a different country. And that also just shows the melting pot that we are, and how together and culturally together our differences make us stronger, and that's what makes us unique. And I think that's so special. And that's also what I took out of this season too. With Galaxy, we didn't have like all-stars in terms of all-star players, right? But we had girls that were gonna work hard. We had girls that wanted to be there and wanted to play, and yeah, showed up and just worked with grit. That's like our thing, is like Grit City. And I just appreciate that and applaud that so much. One of my favorite players, Annika, she plays at St. Martin's. And you know I love this because I played Division 2. And I feel like for a really long time there was like this weird misconception that Division 2 wasn't competitive enough, and that you had to play Division 1 to gain those types of opportunities, which in truth you had to, right? But also to see that one of our best players is going to St. Martin's and she's freaking phenomenal, and she's starting and playing and every single game. I'm just so proud of her, and it's just so fun to see that sort of energy come from, again, she's competing and playing with gals that are playing Division 1, playing in Big 12 now? I don't know. I literally don't know. So yeah, I'm on a soccer high, and I just love the sport. I know that a lot of my friends have had moments where they feel a little bit traumatized by the sport. I've had conversations with friends like that, and I just hope that you do find that joy that it brings you again, because that little girl inside of you, that little boy inside of you who loved the sport so much and who it lit you up when you'd score a goal or when you would combine a pass or when you would block a shot, those moments are the ones that we should take with us versus the ones that feel a little bit more offsetting, right? Because of the opinions and because of the pressure that maybe adults put and placed on us as kids. And it goes back to that whole idea for me of, where does that mental health aspect lie? And do you have other interests and options for yourself beyond sport? But also, how do you create an experience that you want to live through? Because that's also very important too. And Bellamy just woke up. Bellamy! Bells!
Hello.
Do you want to say hi? No. That's all I got.